In less than 30 days, the state of Oklahoma is about to make the grave mistake of murdering Richard Glossip. They're going to murder Richard Glossip, and they're going to say there was the death penalty and he was convicted by a jury of his peers. The problem with that is that the jury of his peers didn't hear all the evidence. They were told lies by the prosecution. They believed those lies, and now Richard Glossip is going to pay for it with his life. This is a very sad day in American justice. This is a very sad day in Oklahoma justice. This is a very sad day for the Van Treese family. I know the Van Treese family feels like they're getting justice. They're really not. Richard Glossip had nothing to do with this murder. The evidence doesn't support that. Now, if Richard Glossip has something to do with this murder, that could be the case. But there's no evidence that supports that. Nothing in the prosecution case supports a conviction for murder. Now, what happens is the prosecution makes a very good story. Everybody thinks to themselves, well, the more evidence the prosecution has, the better, right? That's definitely not the case. A lot of times, whenever the prosecution presents evidence, then the defense can challenge that evidence and therefore make it null and void. Give you a perfect example. Remember back in the OJ trial, and the prosecution presented as evidence the gloves, and Johnny Cochran said, "Hey, if the gloves don't fit, then you must acquit." I'm almost 100% sure that's why the jury went back there and decided not to convict O.J. Simpson, because they thought, well, hey, this prosecution evidence don't fit, so we gotta acquit. So whenever you don't have any evidence, then the prosecution can present a theory. They don't have to prove that theory. Now it's up to the defense to try to poke holes in it. A lot of times that can't happen because the prosecution just made the story up. Very similar to the Sandra Melgar case. We will talk about that case really soon, but right now let's get back to the subject at hand, Mr. Richard Glossip. Now, I'm making this video very upbeat, very happy, but the reality of it is the whole couple of days past, I've been super fucked up. I mean, my mind, my heart, it's been hard for me to focus because I'm thinking to myself, the state of Oklahoma is genuinely about to kill a man who had nothing to do with a crime. Now, the person who actually committed the murder got life in prison. Richard Glossip, because they accused him of paying somebody to commit a murder, is going to get the death penalty. He lost his clemency hearing 2-2. How you lose something 2-2 is beyond me. But the state of Oklahoma has some very deep issues, and they are way too excited to kill people. The state of Oklahoma is supposedly a pro-life state, but they kill more people per capita than anybody in the world. This is just bizarre. Richard Glossip had no evidence whatsoever that he is guilty of making somebody else commit a crime. Justin Sneed himself tried to come out several times and say that didn't happen. The money that they found when Richard Glossip didn't have any blood on it, Richard Sneed did, so you can tell that they didn't split that money. There was never any evidence of how much money that Mr. Van Treese had. They said $4,000, that's what the prosecution said, but there's no proof of that. What they found out later to be what they had about $2,600, so that's a bad split somewhere, somehow. Secondly, or thirdly, or fourthly, wherever number I'm at, there was never any evidence that the hotel was losing $4,000. That's what the prosecution presented, but they never actually proved it. That's what they said. And this is a very sad day in America, and I can just pray that Oklahoma can come together. Maybe the governor, the president can have a conversation, maybe over some Thai food or something. Maybe they can come to the realization that this man is innocent, or at least come to the realization that there's not enough evidence to put this man to death. I'm praying for the Richard Glossip family. I'm praying for the family of Mr. Van Treese, and I'm hoping that we can all get this together. I'm Joe. This is Truth Be Joe.